So I'm back over here on Kickstarter taking a look at Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Complete Comic Book Collections. What is this? What is this thing? Let me tell you real quick. Even though I've explained this in a video before, I'm going to break it down just in case you didn't see that one. They're basically taking the entire Boom Studios Power Rangers comic book run and putting them in very beautiful hardcover books. They look really good. They're just really expensive. So much and so if you want to buy the complete set, you have to spend like $500. But here's the amazing thing, 988 backers. If you take that $508,000 and you do the math on this, every one of those backers just about spends over $500. That's why this is such a successful campaign. Power Rangers has a very passionate fan base. I read the comics. They're really good, actually. Here's some of the art from some of it. Like this is fantastic stuff. It's a really good comic book run. I love it. I'm very tempted to pick this up. I haven't done it yet, but I think I probably am going to before the time runs out. Check these out. So this is what you get. Here's the complete book. And this isn't a paid, I'm not getting paid to do this. It's going to tie into what I had to talk about. I need to show you guys what this is first. So like $100, you can get one of these, right? Here's the tier. So for $100, you can pick which edition you want. You could just get one if you wanted, but it's kind of pointless to just get one. Really, the benefit is to buy tier 3 for all of them, and it's $500. So for $500, you get pretty much the entire series. The series is still ongoing, so I imagine they'll revisit this again eventually because it's successful. I really do want these. I think that these are beautiful. Boom Studios has done this before, by the way. They did this with Keanu Reeves. I did a video on this as well. This is Berserk. This is actually an original comic that they did. This made over $1 million. Why am I even talking about this? Well, if you followed my channel or any of the other channels that cover all of the shenanigans going on in the comic book industry, you'll know that the comic book industry is full of a lot of NPC Puritans who don't like anything unless they control it, and they like to push a lot of woke agendas in mainstream comics. It's one of the reasons why mainstream comics is in kind of the problem and weak state that it is. Power Rangers is not touched by it, which is funny. Power Rangers is probably one of the most diverse franchises around, and it doesn't push a bunch of nonsense. It just tells a good story, and it's fun. Berserk looks to do the same. So naturally, hungry comic book fans are flocking to these and supporting them. I think the Power Rangers books would have been supported regardless because it's kind of its own thing, kind of transcend comic books, because I think fans of Power Rangers would pick these up anyway. But the point is, in the American comic book industry, it's a bottom-up industry. What do I mean by that? Well, people with little talent and little success, some people that have never even worked for Marvel or DC Comics, based on protected status that they hold, they have more power than a Jim Lee, somebody that's really, really talented and high up and should have more power than them and influence, but they don't. In fact, they have to bend the knee to the person that probably lives in a van eating a lot of cat food. It's a very strange situation, but this is what American comic books have done to themselves. So one of them, and listen, don't bother anybody that I'm going to show you in this video. I'm just going to go over what they have to say because I want to show you what's going on here. So don't contact anybody. Don't go bother them. Leave them alone. So here is the thread that I want to point out. This is by Stephanie Cookie, who, as far as I know, has never worked for Marvel or DC Comics, creates a lot of smaller comics, but she is able to somehow influence the entire comic book industry, and that's kind of the problem. So she comes out and blasts Power Rangers. Power Rangers has a net worth of $522 million. You do not need Kickstarter. I like that they're, in fact, I'm probably going to back this for sure because it's got everybody upset now. So what they're really upset about is that they think that because people are backing Power Rangers or Berserk, they won't back some other project, which is crazy. There's billions of people in the world. if you try hard enough, you could probably get people to back your project. You just got to put a lot of work in. You also need a platform and so on and so on. But these people are very greedy, and they want to dictate what people can and can't do in the industry. They thrive on that control. All right, so I want to point something out which they don't seem to understand. I went to Comics Earth for some reason. I guess this means everywhere. And popularity. Okay. People that, like, for example, people on my audience, right? If I was going to pitch them a book, there's certain books that just wouldn't fly with my audience, right? And I can just go right down here and tell you some of these that wouldn't. For example, Midnight Barista short comic, which I think is about two dudes falling in love in a coffee shop. I don't think that would sell very well on my channel. You know what I'm saying? I have nothing against this book. If you want this, I think it's great. But there's certain platforms that would probably be better to pitch that comic on than my platform. Like something like Samurai of Oz here, that would probably sell well on my channel because it's a hot anime girl with a sword. That would probably sell well to my audience. My point is, this book, or even Misfile Next, whatever this is, that's probably not going to sell very well on my platform. Like something like Common America Volume 3. That would sell well probably on my platform. Or this one over here about this samurai dude. Or, you know, something else on here. Like some of these, like with this right here, this demon lady. That would probably do okay on my platform. Two dudes falling in love with like ecchi kind of, I forget the name of that style, but there's actually a style of this type of manga in Japan. That's probably not going to sell very well with my audience. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You have certain audiences for certain platforms. My point is, anyone that was going to back Power Rangers isn't going to back whatever book Stephanie Cook is making. Okay? Comics Matter in his video said 2 girls that fall in love and ride bicycles. The people that are going to probably pick up this Power Rangers book aren't interested in the bicycle book. I'm sorry. And they're probably not interested in that coffee book. It doesn't mean those books don't need to exist. If there's an audience for it, it should exist. But this Power Rangers book can take Kickstarter too. They don't want it on there because it makes money, which is very short-sighted, in my opinion, for them, because getting more people using crowdfunding and buying comics, some of them somewhere might go look around and like that coffee shop or bicycle book, and maybe they'll buy it. The point is, it's bringing an audience that wasn't there before, and they just don't seem to understand this because they want to be mean girls and they want to take down everybody else's stuff. It's terrible business, and this is why the comic book business is in the shitter. But let's take a look at the thread. And even though this is a Boom project, it's still a licensed Power Rangers thing, and it should not be crowdfunded. I'm sure this has already made the rounds, and I know Boom took heat for the Keanu Reeves comic too, but I only just saw that they are now doing this for Power Rangers, and I'm so mad. When is Kickstarter going to make a policy so that big corporations and companies aren't allowed to crowdfund on their platform? This is directly taking away from indie creators that actually need it, but it's not. They weren't going to buy your bicycle book in the first place. Nobody buying that Power Rangers book would. They wouldn't have been actively searching for it, but I can tell you what, they might get exposed to it now. A whole bunch of people that would have never been exposed to your bicycle book now have a chance to see it. I don't get how you don't understand that. More eyes on the comic books on Kickstarter is better than none. And they weren't magically, I was originally going to get these sweet hardbound Power Rangers books, but you know what? Instead, I'm going to get this coffee book where these 2 guys fall in love working in a coffee shop. That's not how things work. Now, maybe after they buy what they were going to buy, they might, okay, well, I kind of like these kinds of stories. Maybe I will pick that up. That could actually happen, but it wouldn't have happened at all if they'd never seen it. I don't. None of these people understand business at all. I'm not even a big business expert, but I at least understand more eyes looking at my stuff is better than nothing. It's just idiotic at this point. So no one is saying that Power Rangers content shouldn't exist. What is being said is that a multi-million-dollar franchise and a publisher with has Disney Fox stakeholders, not anymore. Not anymore, actually. Hasbro is pretty much the only company that owns American Power Rangers now. Shouldn't be using crowdfunding platform where they overshadow indie creators using it to make a living. I'm reading this right now. And then you've got more people jump in and say, this is an abuse of the kickstarting system. I feel Power Rangers remains an incredibly profitable franchise. This doesn't stop other projects from existing on the platform, but it does overshadow and obscure them. Boom. Why are you like this? Well, that's not true. We can go to the Power Rangers stuff right here. We can go down to the bottom. And you will see that right at the bottom, it says, we also recommend these books that if you enjoyed the book we're selling you right now, you might enjoy these. How are these projects right here being obscured by Power Rangers? It's recommending them. In fact, you can discover more. Look at that. Now, it's not taking me to comic book stuff. It should. Now, I'll give you that. When I clicked on that, it should have taken me to more comic book stuff. I'll give you that. It should have. But these 4 comics that it's recommending down here at the bottom of the Power Rangers book are probably something that a Power Rangers audience might be interested in. But, you know, they don't seem to understand that over in NPC Comics. And it's kind of a shame that they don't get that. But that's not really what this is about. Wow, I'm surprised. Tier 5 sold out. Limited to $5,000. This is an insane Kickstarter. These people would never have been interested in your bicycle books or your coffee shop books. And I'm not saying those don't need to exist. But if Boom Studios wants to use crowdfunding to reach an audience that they normally wouldn't have found in the first place, there's nothing wrong with that. But being obscured by them was never the purpose. The purpose of what they're doing is to have control, to bring Boom Studios to their knees, to say, hey, Boom Studios, you're making a lot of money there. What are you doing for us? You know who we are. We'll take down your comic book company. We'll make sure that you bend the knee to us one way or another. Now, hopefully, Boom Studios will give them a giant finger, because Boom Studios, DC Comics, Marvel Comics, all of these other studios, they're the ones that are really in the driver's seat. But they continuously bend the knee to these weirdos, and it's crippled the comic book industry. I was going to brought it to its knees. That's already passed. They've absolutely crippled comics. And now they want to control crowdfunding comics, which is a joke. I don't know if Kickstarter or Boom will bend the knee. We'll see. I don't think Kickstarter will right now, because they've been doing pretty poorly with comic books over the past 2 years for a lot of reasons. But it's still, it'll be interesting to watch and see if anything happens. But hopefully Boom doesn't do anything and they keep using this platform. I think it's great and kind of hilarious, because it annoys the hell out of these mean comic book pros. So, you know, if you're looking for a good story and you want to spend the money, I highly recommend these comics. I think they're really good. It's just expensive. You can get the trades a lot cheaper, like $25 a piece. But if you're looking for something to look really badass on your shelf, like this, this will definitely do it. It's just $500 for all of them, and there's really no point in buying one, which is why on the average, most of the people on here are spending over $500. So anyway, that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out.